This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friend Sara and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a topic.
The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where if you help us reach the $200 a month goal, we can start That's Hell You're Walking Into, a podcast where I unleash my noble phantasm, Madness of Akasha, an art support NP that debuffs attack, def, and mental beef-up resistance for 6 turns.
Amazing.
And also I make Ben learn about Fate lore, and probably inevitably Fate Grand Order mechanics somewhere in there. So if you want to learn more about how Fate works and also how Fate Grand Order works, because it is inscrutable, head on over to patreon.com/thegorge and kick in, and we would really appreciate it.
All right, cool. What are we talking about this week, though?
This week is Indie Week, so we are back to the BLM bundle that itch.io did, because there were 1,700 games in there, and I'm not done with them yet. So we, like last time, picked a bunch at random. We did not tell each other, except for one. I made a demand, which we'll probably talk about toward the end. I made a demand of a single game that Ben also needed to play because I enjoyed it so much. But otherwise, we're just going to go back and forth and share what we played and give our impressions. We did not, at least I did not, finish any of these, but, you know, I played most of them because some of them are pretty small. I played most of them for 30 minutes to an hour.
I finished one of mine.
Okay.
And I would have finished another one, but I'll discuss why I didn't finish it when I get to that one.
Okay, cool. Otherwise, yeah. I'm going over in my head to see if there's any other rules to this. No. So, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
First one I played was Bold Blade by Ultra Runaway Studios.
Okay.
This is an arcade game where you basically it's kind of like, I guess you could describe it as like an arcadey twin stick game.
Okay.
You're on a map or a battlefield, and enemies kind of march in. But instead of a gun, you have a sword, and the way you swing that sword is by I played on controller, so by holding the L or R shoulder buttons, you rotate clockwise or counterclockwise.
Ooh,
and you swing the sword that way. And the gimmick behind it is that instead of upgrading it to just become stronger or like to get more health, you make the sword wider or taller.
Oh, how fun. Okay.
It's got really, really good looking sprite work. Very arcade sprite work. Like, definitely that kind of era. Like, I could easily see this in, like, an old, like, arcade or, like, in the main entrance of, like, a skate rink or something.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. It actually, like, it plays really, really, really well. Hits are really satisfying.
Okay.
And you can also unlock, like, some spells and stuff and, like, upgrade your HP and your stamina bar. The problem that I had with it was that I did not know it didn't have an autosave. And I got a significant way through the game, and then it locked up on me. And I closed out of it and relaunched it and went, where's my save?
Oh, no.
Oh
no, that's bad. Okay.
But I was having a ton of fun with it throughout. I think the gimmick of you just make the weapon bigger is hilarious.
Right, yeah.
Because it starts off like fairly decently sized. Like it's like Guts' sword, you know, a big thing. But then,
oh god, it starts out as big as like.
Yeah, and then you just get it to the point where it's like half the screen long.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Or you can just make it really, really wide.
Right. Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I am notoriously bad at twin stick shooters, but yeah.
I mean, this one's more like not really a twin stick because there's no like firearm, but like it's you move with one stick and then you rotate with the L and R buttons.
Okay, that actually does sound a little bit more now that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Really, really fun. I wish I could have beaten it, but I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. After losing progress, you're good. That makes sense. No, that sounds cute.
Yeah.
So on my list next is Democratic Socialism Simulator. I had to. I saw it and I was like, yes. It's one of the bigger, not bigger, but the more known and more polished titles in the bundle. I've seen a lot of people talking about it, so I decided to play it. It's very funny and cute. You are the first socialist president of the United States. So I was like, oh, okay. And then basically, you ever seen those videos on YouTube by Korzysgast? It's like, they're like science videos that use like cute little animated birds to tell you about science and shit.
I don't think so, but I think I would know it if I saw it.
Yeah. If anybody out there does know it, then you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a very similar style to that, with these like very highly tweened, polished looking animated like cards, and basically it gives you like two things and says like, this is, you slide your card in either direction and see how it goes. And of course, like, you have constituents and a budget, and you're trying to lower greenhouse gases, and, power to the people, actually empower workers in the wake of being the first socialist president. And I thought I was doing great. I was having a great time. I had just, taken back the Senate. I was having a good time, and then the military kicked me out. I had to deal with an actual military coup, and I got a game over.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it, actually. It is strangely relaxing because it's very simple. My like goal when I started like this indie week was I wanted more chill games. I just wanted stuff that I could kind of like play and chill out and enjoy instead of being like stressed out. I played it just as a note. I started Tamashi. It's a horror platformer. I literally played it for 5 minutes, and it seems like it would be good, but it was giving me a headache because of like, it is aggressive. It's very aggressive pixel horror art stuff. And I was like, but it looked cool, and I'm sure if I was in a better mood, I would probably have gotten further in it. But after I played Tamashi, I was like, I just want to like chill this indie week. So everything I picked was pretty chill, except for one thing. And Democratic Socialism Simulator was like that too. It's a very interesting kind of like slightly reduced down to its basic ideas of like what a socialist president would have to deal with in the United States vis-a-vis military-industrial complex and rich donors trying to backstab you and all of that stuff. And I was, of course, just playing it just like hardcore, redistribute everything to the people, / greenhouse emissions, and it ended in a military coup. So I was like, oh, okay, I see how it is. But I enjoyed it. It's definitely a game you can just kind of like play in 15 minutes and get to an ending.
Oh, cool.
It's very short and very simple. It's the kind of game, though, that you're meant to just kind of play over and over again. Just do runs of it constantly and trying to figure out like the balance to not be immediately, I guess, executed out in front of the White House.
Yeah.
I can only assume is what happened. Executed on the lawn of the White House. It's funny because when they like, I was kind of just in my own head when I was doing it, and so like all of your advisors and stuff, your lobbyists, they're all represented by like cute animals, and so of course the defense lobbyist / Secretary of Defense is like an eagle, and I was just doing my thing, and it came in, and it was like the defense lobbyist guy comes in and is like, we're asking you to leave. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. And then they went, oh no, you don't have a say in this matter. And then I got a game over. I'm like, oh, okay.
The asking was a courtesy.
The asking was just them being polite. And then they say like, oh, this is a coup. And you have the option to just go, no! And of course I picked that because this is like how I was feeling. But I enjoyed it. I really like it. It's very simple and easy to play. Which is great, and I highly recommend it. That one is by, I guess I should say the names of these developers too. It is by Mole Industria on itch.io. Obviously it's in the bundle, but you can still just pick it up for $3 on itch.io if you did not get the bundle. So highly recommend. Actually, it's cute. It's good.
Yeah, sounds cool. The next one I played was Semblance.
Okay.
By Nyamakop.
Okay.
This is a 2D puzzle platformer where you play as a little blob guy. And the gimmick is that most of the platforms you encounter are made of Play-Doh.
This looks cute. Yeah, I pulled it up while you were talking about it. This is adorable looking.
So the idea is that you have a dash mechanic, and you can dash into the platforms to move them around.
Oh, okay.
So like if you have like a thin strip of a platform, you can dash up into it to raise a section of it.
Yeah.
And so it's all these like you go to the next obstacle course, like loading or like room. And then you have to, the goal is to find like these 5 like orbs throughout the level, to unlock the exit. And so like each one has like, puzzle you have to solve by using that mechanic of like air dashing into the walls or whatever to indent them or to raise them up or stuff like that. I didn't get very far into it. But the trailer showed off a lot of really cool things that you eventually get to do. Like you don't have a wall jump or anything like that, but there's a point where like a wall made of Play-Doh that you can dash into and create indentations that you can step on.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, I like it. It looks very cute. I like this art style. It's very simple, but very organic looking as well. I'm into it.
I ended up playing a lot of 2D platformers in this one.
Yeah. That's okay. Those are, I wouldn't say easy to make, but certainly easier to make than like a full 3D game. Obviously, all video games are hard to make.
Right.
But I feel like those are a little bit more approachable to all kinds of people. So that's why you get a lot of 2D platformers and 2D games in general in the indie sphere, which is fine. Yeah.
I think this one was really fun. I might go back to it eventually just because I was enjoying the whole aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was cool.
Cool. The next on the list is actually another like chill puzzler. It is Ethereal by Nonsense Arts. I really liked this one. I didn't get terribly far, but it definitely feels like just like the ideal game to sit and play. I wonder if it's like if you could play it on a tablet, I feel like it would be even better because of the way it kind of functions. Is you just play like it's very abstract. You're basically just an arrow running along lines, but you're having to traverse through like blocks of color in order to reach, kind of like with Semblance, like in order to reach like a little orb that's just kind of like your goal for that area. And then as you do that, you're also unlocking more parts of a grander map that is becoming increasingly interlinked. And all of the like movements and motions and stuff you interact with have different sounds. So then as you play it, it kind of becomes more musical in a way. Like us like playing it skillfully kind of sounds very musical as you go. Yeah, it's very cool. And it's just like an extremely simple, kind of intricate puzzler game that I just, it's there's no text. It doesn't tutorialize you at all. It just kind of like throws you in and says like, hey, you know, figure it out as you go. And so you start to kind of realize like the rules of like how you can cross platforms and bridge gaps, because you have to be there are like rules to how you cross the gaps. And there are different mechanics to make things switch around, and I just really enjoyed it. It was very, obviously it's called ethereal, but it kind of feels like a very cozy kind of chill out game.
I'm looking at the Steam demo, the Steam trailer for it. It reminds me a lot of like a Sonic mini game.
Yeah.
Like,
okay,
you know, the Sonic 1 like spinning room.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of that, but this looks really interesting.
It's very neat because you just kind of get like, again, it is all part of like a grander map as well, so you kind of can see like the whole scope of it, and it's very beautiful. It's very well designed for being so simple. And I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's something that you can just kind of come back to and just play a little bit and drop it, which is my favorite kind of thing sometimes, is to just have like something simple to play instead of being, you know, bombarded with stimuli.
This game looks like the first level is like 20 seconds long.
Yes.
And then
yeah,
by the end of the game, you are running 15 different algorithms to...
Yeah, it's very Baba Is You.
Yeah. Like simultaneously keeping track of 13 different setups you have going in order to approach the goal.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, let me see, the itch page lists, no, it doesn't list a playtime, but it said it has 24 levels. So, you know, there's a pretty decent amount of stuff to do in this little game. So yeah, I highly recommend it. I wonder if it's on Apple, because you have like an iPad or just a general big tablet. Then I feel like it'd be like the kind of game you play in bed, you know?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we went to MomoCon, we played that puzzle game Sinker? Where you're using, like, you're on lines and you're hooking just spheres with hooks, and you're pulling them to different little points. It has a huge Sinker energy.
Yes.
Of just kind of like a very musical, very pared down, simple puzzle game that you would just play to kind of like de-stress before you go to bed at night, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like that a big time. So yeah, I recommend, obviously.
Next one I played is a bit more substantial than the others.
Okay.
I played Vision Soft Reset.
Ooh, okay.
Which is a Metroidvania game where you play as a robot who lands on a planet and you discover the planet only has 20 minutes before its core melts down.
Okay.
So the way it works is you have a time reverse mechanic. So if you take a bunch of damage, you can rewind time Prince of Persia style and try that again. You also, because of that, you also have an enemy prediction mechanic where you'll see a silhouette of an enemy's attack before the attack happens. So that gives you time to like dodge it or to counterattack or whatever.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about it is because you're playing as a robot, and what you're essentially doing is every time you hit a save point, you're just storing your memory like of that moment.
Yeah.
So because you're a robot, every upgrade you get isn't really new equipment. It's you're unlocking program files or like decrypting files in your own hard drive.
Oh.
So what that means is because you're on that 20-minute time limit, you aren't really saving the game. You're kind of creating like a save state that you revert back to. Oh. So like you get like your save screen is a branching timeline. And because all of your upgrades are programs and not physical objects, if you go back to an old timeline, you'll have all the abilities you already unlocked.
That is so cool. Okay.
It's super interesting.
That's really cool. Oh my god. Yeah.
There's like, and it's like, there are other things that affect it. Like, there's a point where I entered a power plant facility and I turned on the power, and the mission control guy comes on the radio and he's like, okay, you turn the power on, but just remember, if you go back to an old timeline, the power won't be on in that timeline.
Right.
So you have to like plan out like where and when you're going to revert to once you like make some progress.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
It's super, super interesting.
That sounds like very one of those games that's meant to have just like an incredibly optimized run.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
So it's a very speedrun adjacent game where it's like the goal is to just figure out your best route to do it as quickly as possible, especially with like an actual timer. But that's neat because it means you don't really have like a timer breathing down your neck either.
Yeah.
Like, you can always roll back to earlier in the 20 minutes, and still have all your stuff, so there's less pressure. It's a neat way to mitigate like the anxiety of always being on a timer, because nobody likes timer missions. Okay.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
It's that thing because like, you know, your map data still saves and whatnot, and like once you defeat a boss and like get whatever upgrade it was guarding, you don't have to beat that boss anymore. You cleared that part of the map out.
Oh, like, yeah. Okay.
So you can just revert back the 10 minutes you spent trying to get there.
Yeah.
And go back fresh with all the upgrades. Like, you're not going back to that area. You're done.
Oh, that's so smart. I really like that. Yeah.
So like, even if you didn't technically beat it in like whatever timeline you revert back to, like,
yeah,
you already got the spoils for it, so you don't need to do it again.
Yeah, you got the stuff and you cleared that part of the map, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to go back and fight them again. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got to a point where like I entered like a plot progression point, and the mission control guy was like, "Are you sure you want to progress? You only have 9 minutes left."
Oh, okay. So it's basically saying, "Hey, you should probably try to get to this plot point
like a little earlier
with more time to spare." Yeah. Ah, that's so smart. I'm into it.
It's so, like, I there's a thing where, like, I spent a bunch of time trying to find a combination for a lock on a door. And then once I found all the keys, I'm like, I'll just go back to the old save I had right before that and get 5 minutes back.
Because you had all the stuff. Yeah, that's so smart. That's such a good idea. Okay, I love it. That sounds really so good. Cool. Yeah, I'm into it. That sounds very, like, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
The next thing I played is because I'm a child and I'm easily distracted by pretty visuals, is probably the most bombastic thing on the list. It's called Gun House.
Ooh.
You need to look this up. Like, while I talk, look it up.
Is it Gun House, like house, or like Grover House?
Gun House is like house.
Okay.
It's by Necrosoft Games. It has the most phenomenal art style I know.
Love it. Is this by the Scott Pilgrim guy?
I don't know. The art is by Juan Ramirez.
Okay, no, it almost looked like it for a second, but no, this is a little bit different. Wow.
Yeah, it is a lot. And it combines two genres that I'm extremely bad at, so I didn't get very far in it. But I enjoyed my time with it. It is a tower defense and puzzle game. Two things I'm bad at.
Oh boy! Boy!
And it's a sliding block puzzle game, where the idea is, so on the far right of the screen is the puzzle matrix, and what you do is you match up 4 blocks of the same color that creates the ammo for your guns, and you pull it left and it loads your guns, you pull it right and it loads your special attacks, and then things will assault your house, which is full of orphans for some reason. And so like these like dog monster things will attack your house and try to steal your orphans. And then the deal is that when you run out of ammo, the puzzle panel opens back up and you have 18 seconds to make more ammo, basically.
Wow.
And it's very frantic. And I'm very bad at it.
This looks like it would give me a headache.
It kind of did. It definitely kind of gave me anxiety. But it is a delight to look at. It's out on Switch. If you want it on your Switch, it's a joy to look at. The art style is incredible. The music is very good. And I just really, really liked it. Even though I was very bad at it.
I feel like this would be like at a setup at a con, like in the gaming room at a con.
Yeah, totally.
Like you could totally just see this right alongside like Puyo Puyo Pan and like Tetris Attack and stuff like that.
Right? Yeah, it's very frantic and colorful. I like I said, I liked it a lot. I think it was really fun. Despite my being bad at it, it's a blast. I would like to get better at it, but also I wish, and I think you can probably get like upgrades to give yourself more time to solve puzzles. I would like those soon. I should have tried to unlock those faster because 18 seconds is not enough time for my dumb brain to try and like put together 4 blocks of the same color. And they can't be stacked on top of each other. They have to form like a square, so it has to be a 2x2, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. So you have to manipulate these blocks around to make all these colors slot together. And I'm bad at it. I'm very bad at it, Ben. Sad to say, so I still recommend it. Yeah. It's a good time it's a good time waster. It's the only one that is not terribly therapeutic, though. So if you want to chill out, probably not this one.
Next one I played was a very, very small game that was kind of enjoyable and relaxing. Mm-hmm. It's called Water's Fine.
Okay.
It's by Ouch. It is a Game Boy aesthetic game where you play as a deep sea diver. It's very NES micro game style.
Yeah.
It's just you dive. You have a limited supply of air. You collect. It's all like randomly generated seabeds that you dive down. Mm-hmm. You have to collect bags of money. Mm-hmm. And if you die, you lose all the money that you picked up. Like if you drown or you get attacked by something or whatever.
Right.
If you return to the surface, then you deposit whatever you picked up. Okay. And as you go further down, the bags of money get more and more in them. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So it's just, taking a risk and conserving air.
Sure.
You can like get missiles that you can use to break blocks to reveal like air bubbles or more money or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very, very simple, but like once you get like a second air tank and like an extra heart to take hits, mm-hmm. and you start like being able to like really, really dive, right. You get that serious tension of like, oh, I don't know, can I keep pushing? Can I keep going?
Should I keep going?
Yeah, because you have to return to the surface, and so you can't just take every air bubble you see on the way down, or else you won't have any coming back up.
I never know the difference. I think that counts as a roguelite, not as a roguelike.
Yeah, I think so.
I think a roguelike, and I swear to God, we've probably had this conversation on this podcast before. A roguelike is when you just lose everything when you die and have to start from scratch 100%. Yeah. But a roguelite is when like health and stuff carries over, or certain things carry over when you die, but not everything. You know? So I think this technically counts as a roguelite.
Yeah, I think it's a very simplistic one for sure. Yeah. But it had that sort of like mindless addiction to it. That you can just like, once you kind of get a really, really good pattern and a good setup. Like, you can just go forever.
Right.
And you encounter, like it's cool because, like, you can hit points where it's just like, this is just a patch of nothing. Like, there's no blocks, there's no enemies. It's just, like, 2 or 3 screens of empty sea.
Oh, wow.
And you have to, like, decide, like, do I push on for this? Because there's, like,
do you keep going?
There's nothing here for me. If I get stuck in here, like, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I guess
cool.
that sounds... It would be kind of spooky if you have a fear of dark water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does have a content warning for horror elements. Like, I didn't really encounter... That's what it kind of intrigued me, because I'm like, well, what's going to get spooky about this? But I didn't really see anything besides, like, you know, I guess, like, glowfish and stuff are kind of spooky, and, like, just the simple act of, like, drowning.
Sure, I guess if you have a big thing, and a lot of people have, like, big fears of deep water. So I suppose if you have a thing about deep water, then yeah, that probably would put you off of it. But it looks cute. It definitely looks like a Game Boy game, like specifically, like very specifically, like a Game Boy game that is too big to actually be a Game Boy game. But you know how it is. Yeah, no, I like it. Cool. How many more do you have?
I have one more, and then the one we both played.
Okay, I technically have 3 more. Okay. So I have 2 more, including the one we both played.
Okay, cool.
So I'm gonna do kind of like 2 back to back, because one is very short. I didn't spend a lot of time with it, but because I don't think it wasn't for me, but I still liked it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it's a bad video game. So real quick, Axon Interactive's Quench is a game about, like, leading a herd of elephants on, like, a little pilgrimage, and you play as it's like a top-down kind of god game, sort of, where you are like a magic bird who is leading these elephants through hazardous conditions and stuff, and you have magic powers that can clear environmental hazards, and, like, move sand and brambles, and you can make it rain, you can cause earthquakes and stuff like that to kind of clear the path and try to keep them moving. It had the distinct feel of an edutainment game, where it definitely feels, it doesn't really feel like it's for, like, young children, but for, like, 12 to 14 year olds, maybe, like 10 to 14 year olds, where it has, like, very readable fonts and very easy to understand mechanics. And it just kind of has that general feel of being something. I mean, it's not terribly educational because you're like a spirit bird,
right?
But it, you know what I say? Like, when I say a game kind of feels like it's meant to be, like, it's educational in some way.
A game for students.
Yeah. And I liked it, but it just kind of wasn't for me. Like, I don't think it's a bad video game, but I played a little bit of it. I was like, okay, this is good. And then I turned it off.
Just not your genre, basically?
Not my genre. It has a very cool art style where everything is made out of triangles, and I thought that looked really neat. And yeah, it has nice music. It was not hard to play. It's extremely easy to just pick up and play and go, but you can kind of see where if you, like, got further, you can see, like, the idea of managing lots and lots of different catastrophes would kind of build upon each other, and I think that sounds neat. But, like I said, I had enough after just a little bit. I was like, okay, this is good, but not for me. So that was a quick one. Quench by Axon Interactive, if that's your thing. The other big one I played, that I actually stopped playing because I think it could almost be its own episode, and that's why I turned it off.
Okay.
Is... Wait, where is it? Night School Studios Oxenfree.
Okay, I've heard of this.
I played the first hour of Oxenfree.
What is this?
Oxenfree is, it kind of feels like a combination of Life is Strange and Night in the Woods.
Okay.
Where you are a teenage girl who goes to an island to hang out with some of her friends in the wake of her brother's death and her parents divorcing and her mom remarrying. And so she now has the stepbrother who comes along with her to this island. And it is kind of an adventure game, but like not really. The biggest purpose is kind of in the way that Life is Strange is. It feels more like a Telltale Games adventure game where the big thing is conversation choices.
Okay.
And the biggest and most importantest part of this is this dialogue system that they've built that is meant to sound like extremely naturalistic flowing dialogue where you can interject and interrupt people or kind of make your own comments and stuff like that. And so the whole idea is really more so like managing your social situations in a basically kind of like a spooky game. It's meant to be not like a horror game, but like spooky. Maybe it gets spookier as it goes. I only played the first hour. I think it's about 5 hours long.
Okay.
But it has a really nice art style, which I'm always a big fan of. The dialogue is really good. It has that feeling of kind of like being in like an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where all of these like 17 and 18-year-olds are maybe a little too quick-witted for actual 17 and 18-year-olds, but not nearly as insufferable as some of that can be.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. I think it has a really cool art style, and it's doing something kind of vaguely maybe eldritch with like its horror, where there's like a shot at one point where they're like everybody is teleported away from each other, and you find yourself under the ocean, and then you're teleported again. It's like, oh, okay. I really liked it. What I did play of it, I really liked it. It's big time teen drama kind of story,
right?
Which is why it definitely jives with the whole Night in the Woods / Life is Strange vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're there with like your friends and your new stepbrother and your dead brother's ex-girlfriend, and it's all kind of like that awkward, like, you know, you expected to go to a party that would have a ton of people and there are a lot of people kind of thing.
Right.
But I like it. I think it would make a good full episode. Maybe in conjunction with something else. I don't know what yet. But
okay.
I liked it a lot. Yeah. It's definitely Oxenfree is one of the games in this bundle that is like one of the big ticket items, you know?
Right.
Alongside like Overland and Night in the Woods and Celeste and stuff like that. Oxenfree is considered one of the bigger indie games in this bundle, so I figured since I played Overland last time, I would also play another big game instead of a bunch of these very tiny games. I like it. I like it a lot. I think the music and art design and all that stuff is good. I'm very interested to see where this is going plot-wise. So if you kind of like... It also has a big Until Dawn vibe. Ooh. But like not nearly as violent. You know what I mean? Like it's the same idea of like teens going on like an overnight stay somewhere and then like spooky shit starts happening, you know? And the whole idea is that you're mitigating relationships just as much as you are trying to survive. So yeah, if you like Until Dawn, and I don't know anybody who dislikes Until Dawn, like, yeah, I would say give it a shot.
Yeah, cool. That sounds cool.
So yeah.
The last one that I played is the one I completed.
Okay.
It is called The Hex.
Okay.
It is a very, very cool mix of genres. And if you look up the game, you can see the art style, and you kind of get an immediate vibe of what it's going for.
Yeah, okay.
The idea behind it is that you are that the game takes place in a tavern for video game heroes.
Okay.
You play as 6 different characters who are all representative of different genres, and how their lives have been ruined by the changing culture of video games, basically.
Okay.
And so what's cool is like the framing of it is kind of like a slow 2D like walk around, talk to people, and like pick like adventure game, pick up an item, take the key up to the room and unlock the door. But when you make certain progress as different characters, you will flash back to their like the game they start in.
Okay.
And you'll play you'll play a game in their style.
Right.
Like one of the characters, the first character you play is a Super Weasel Kid.
Yeah.
So
it's like Mario.
Yeah, Mario, Sonic. And the whole thing with him is that his first game is very simple and easy. It's impossible to take damage or fail.
Right.
You jump, you collect coins, everything's really happy and colorful and stuff like that. But then it flashes forward to his sequel, where it's changed to him having a combat system now. And his mentor, like helper figure, father figure, is too old to bury the spikes in dirt anymore.
Okay.
So now you'll take damage if you touch them.
Right.
And as you're playing it, the games, you'll occasionally see Steam reviews pop up.
Oh.
And like in-universe Steam reviews, like they'll be like, "This game is really cool," like the first game is like everyone's like praising it for its originality and for being like a really fun romp and being heartwarming and stuff. And the second one has a lot of positive reviews, but you'll get like an occasional negative one, like,
right.
I don't know how I feel about this combat system, or like, what happened to the cheerful fun of the last game kind of thing. And then you get the third game from his style is a reboot of the franchise handled by a different studio. And everything in it is a broken, glitchy mess.
Oh no!
Assets get reused and they're broken. Like the music is mixed poorly.
Yeah,
because it's the creator of the game handed the franchise off to some third party studio to do a quick
cash in.
Yeah, remaster of the game, and it's terrible. And so, like, that's why he ends up, like, washed up and ends up kind of moping around this tavern.
Yeah.
You play as a character who should be the star of a cooking sim game.
Yeah.
But his character rights get bought out by a company so that he can guest star in a fighting game.
Okay.
And he already is this, like, really big buff guy, but he doesn't like fighting.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, it's slowly him getting like more and more like corrupted by having to fight.
Oh no.
And
oh my god.
They keep trying to push him as a fighter, like as a guest character, so he keeps getting really, really good buffs when he gets patched. And it ends up like the players start resenting him for being pushed this hard.
Yeah.
And like he just keeps getting stronger and stronger, so like he's basically like invincible. Like punching out all these other like fighting game characters.
Yeah.
And he hates what he's become, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The JRPG protagonist is afraid of her game becoming a huge mega hit.
Right.
So she tries to sabotage it so that she doesn't get any sequels.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
looking at the itch page and I see a Twitch chat.
Yes, the JRPG has a Twitch chat that will allow you to cheat at puzzles.
Yes.
Like there's like a mini game where you have to answer trivia questions about like the game and stuff. And because you're only playing like a small snippet of it, you don't know the answers until the Twitch chat pops up and gives you the answers.
God. That's great. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
It's really, really cool. It has a Fallout game, a Fallout-inspired game, where it's and I love this. This is amazing. The game is unfinished, and modders take over to fix it.
Oh my god! Yes.
And
oh my god,
what this means is like at first, like the mods are cool. They're like rebalancing or like infinite movement or like infinite ammo kind of thing. But then stuff like aliens start showing up, and you can unlock a mod that turns it into a cartoony, like, bright color flowers and like green foliage everywhere environment. And the protagonist of that game is like really confused. He doesn't know what's going on because like all these mods are like interfering with his world, and he doesn't understand like his reality crumbling around him.
This sounds great.
It's amazing.
Okay.
There are points that like there are like points where like it gets genuinely terrifying because like it doesn't do the thing where, like, you know, the game is real, like One Shot or Undertale or Doki Doki Literature Club, but, like, it does dive into the narrative of the idea of, like, game characters existing outside of their game.
Sure.
And, like, how audiences and producers and game companies who are only interested in making a profit, how that, like, corrupts the soul and the integrity of the games they're making.
As a side note, just to point this out, because you did say it gets terrifying, this is by the creator of Pony Island.
Yes.
Okay.
I did not know that until after I beat the game.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not necessarily a horror game, but there are moments that are, like, genuinely scary at some point.
Sure. Yeah, like a kind of existential dread feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the art style, like, really lends itself to being really creepy.
Yeah.
Super, super good. Like, it takes about 6 hours to beat, according to the itch page. I beat it in a day. I could not stop.
Okay, I might, because, you know, I love me a good Undertale, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, that actually might be one that I'll load up as well.
Like, it's one of those games where, like, I stayed up until, like, 1:30 a.m. just so I could finish it, because I'm like, I can't stop now. I'm, like, here. I'm, like,
you're
right
just
here.
So close. Yeah, you're right there at the end to see how it goes. Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Hell yeah.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely, because that one definitely sounds extremely up my alley.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
When I got to the Fallout parody, I'm like, oh, this is
Sara.
it. This is the game.
Yeah, okay. Cool. I'll look into that. Maybe we'll do another look back at it once I'm finished with it. Maybe it and Oxenfree. Who knows? Two extremely different games, but you know. That being said, last game is the one the gimmick of these indie weeks is that we play stuff and we don't tell each other what we're playing until we've played it. And then there was one I played where I was like, no, you have to play this game. I need somebody else to play this to be excited about it. And that is The King's Bird by Graffiti Games. I love this game. I fucking loved The King's Bird. I played about 2 hours last night. I fired it up because I realized I had a lot of games on my list that I didn't spend a lot of time with. And I was like, okay, I just want to find one more game that's really going to kind of grab me. Mm-hmm. And obviously I put Oxenfree aside because I thought, oh, well, I could do an episode about that. I don't want to finish it, you know?
Right.
So I went looking, and I remember Shia from our Discord. You should join our Discord, by the way, so you can pester me into playing video games. Shia had talked extensively about The King's Bird and was so enthusiastic, in fact, that at one point they screen shared with me to let me get an idea of how it was. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. And then I kind of forgot about it because, you know, life happens. And then I saw it in the list of available games. I was like, oh, I'll give this a shot. And within minutes, I was like, oh my god, okay. And then I was texting you, like, you need to play this now. Because it is a delight. It is so fun to play and so just... Ben, it's so good.
Okay, so the praise I can give to it, and I told you this, but I just want to say this publicly, because, like,
sure. I've
mentioned a few times how bitter and full of hatred I am because Prince of Persia 08 has not gotten a proper sequel yet.
It's dead.
Yeah.
So
I don't need a sequel anymore because I have The King's Bird.
Yeah, absolutely. It has the same kind of, like,
not just aesthetic, like the aesthetics are very similar, I feel like.
Sure.
Like the kind of not quite ruins because they're not like falling apart, but like the I don't know how to describe like a good way, like, but the whole like aesthetic, the design behind it feels kind of like you are exploring ruins, but not quite, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But you are running and wall jumping and dashing, and flying and gliding.
Oh, God. So I looked it up real quick, too, because I was trying to figure out why it felt like Prince of Persia 08. And I looked it up. because it was something in my head. There is an old movie that came out in 1926, and it's basically kind of one of the first examples of like stop motion animation, and it's called The Adventures of Prince Ahmed, and it uses black paper cutout 2D style to tell this story, and it feels very hardcore, like this game is drawing from that in particular. So there is kind of a through line of like an Arabian Nights kind of story being told. So that's why, and plus like the glowy particle effects kind of unifies two very different games, because Prince of Persia 08 and this are like aesthetically extremely different, and yet somehow also very similar with like wall running and stuff like that.
It feels like if you were to play Prince of Persia 08 as Elika.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my god, that's totally it. It is tremendous. Like you said, you are jumping and gliding and flying, and you're using momentum to kind of carry you forward, and it feels very Celeste because you die a lot.
Yeah.
You die a lot, but you also there are generous checkpoints. I mean, literally everywhere. You can't go 10 feet without hitting a checkpoint. And so you're hitting checkpoints, and it's just like trial and error over and over again. The game loads back extremely quickly, because you're just trying to kind of hit the next checkpoint, and you're learning like the physics of this game. And I love it. I love it. It is so good. I can't stand it. It makes me mad.
The music, the art direction, the sound direction are so top notch.
Yes, it has a dynamic soundtrack.
Yes, it has a dynamic soundtrack and a dynamic player character singing along with the soundtrack.
Yes, which is just amazing. So, like, you'll be flying and your player character, there's no spoken dialogue. There's actually no dialogue at all. There's not even, like, subtitles or anything like that. So everything is told through, like, characters singing notes to kind of suggest mood. And the player character is a little girl who, when she flies, she sings, and every single time it just like sends a chill down your spine, because you're gliding, and it's so graceful, and once you like really get it and you kind of get like your momentum going, you can just go forever if you know how to do it right. Because like, so unlike Celeste, where you have to hit the ground for your extra jump to reload, in this, all you have to do is basically hit a wall. So what you'll do is you'll be gliding along, you'll hit the wall, and then you can do a boost up the wall and vault over it, and that will let you continue to fly. So you're just kind of plotting out your course to keep as steady of a path as possible. I love it. It is so good. It is, by far, of all the games we've played so far, easily my favorite. I think it's better than Overland. I think it's better than Oxenfree. I just really... Because it's just like... It's just a joy to physically play, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, it is so hard to find a game that just the act of playing it... Like, yeah, there's, you know, the game is pretty, or the game has an interesting story. Extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, you know? Mm-hmm. And this is just, I think it's, it's intrinsic when the motivation is to just get better at it. Extrinsic, okay, that makes sense, yeah. Because extrinsic is external motivations, so plot and stuff like that. This is an intrinsically motivated game where it's really just like, no, I just want to keep playing because the act of actually playing it feels extremely good.
Like Mario Odyssey for me.
Yeah,
where it was just the joy of it was the point of playing it was that I get to play it.
I get to play it, I get to press these buttons, I get to slide along walls and time my jumps and swoop and collect birds, and yeah, it's great. Oh my god, it's incredible. It only has a 7 on Steam, and I'm like, people have never been more wrong.
That's
I think
ridiculous.
Because I think the momentum puzzles throw a lot of people off.
There is one thing I did have a lot of trouble with, is that your gliding does not function like a hang glider.
Right.
Which is, the implication for that is pulling back to angle yourself upward.
Right.
Which does not work in this game. You will just spiral backwards and crash into something.
Yeah, exactly.
Your glide is determined by whatever direction you're pressing the control stick in, which is something I had to get used to.
Sure, yeah. It definitely... The actual act of learning the momentum... what it wants from you with its momentum-based gameplay can be frustrating. I can feel that. And like initially playing it, so you start the game as like this little girl in a village, and she can't fly yet, and so you're navigating this stacked up village inside of a like a cage of light, and you're navigating it, and at first it feels a little awkward because the jump is very floaty. I guess is that a good word for it?
It's loose.
It's very loose. There you go. It's a very weird jump, but obviously it's not meant for navigating this city. It's meant for navigating like huge open areas. But the city is very compact, so I don't think maybe it gives a good first impression. But as soon as you hit that first like gliding sequence and it like all kicks in, like once it clicks really hard, and you're just like, oh my god, okay, I get it. I get why. I loved it. I will probably keep playing this one. It's an easy thing to just boot up and play for a few minutes, and then load out, and the music is so beautiful and the art style is gorgeous, and I just think it's great. I think it's tremendous. I would love to see more people playing it. I think a 7 out of 10 on Steam is just wrong because it does kind of give a bad first impression, but just overall, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. It is. Hold on. On itch, it's $20 and it's worth all 20. I swear to God.
There's a lot of, like, from what I can see, there's a lot of levels in this.
Yeah.
And the levels themselves aren't very long. They keep track of your time. They keep track of the collectibles you've gotten.
It's extremely Celeste adjacent with, like, you know, keeping track of your time, keeping track of birds instead of strawberries, you know?
It mercifully does not keep track of your death count.
Thank God. I don't like to be reminded of that. Yeah, no, it's incredible. It's so good. It's worth, I mean, yeah, it's $20, but I think it is worth the $20. I got this. I paid $20 for the bundle. It was pay what you want. I paid $20 for the bundle, and I would just buy this game on its own if I had to. Like, yeah,
and if you
highly recommend.
And if you did buy the bundle, well then you already
Congratulations. Have it. You already have it. You should go play it right now. If you liked Celeste, I keep saying it, but really it does feel a lot like a more free Celeste, where like Celeste is about navigating. They're both kind of precision platformers, I guess is the name of that genre. But this is where Celeste is kind of, you only have like the one little double jump and you're trying to navigate with that. This is it's more based of like the focus of movement.
Yeah, your
being
flow.
Graceful. Yeah, your flow, and of course and mastering that. So going from just kind of getting it to really understanding how the mechanics work. And when you do kind of get on a roll, you just fly, and it's magnificent. Oh my god, it's so good. I love this game. Big recommend. Please play The King's Bird. Leave a good review on Steam and on itch, and yeah, tell all your friends as well. It's so good.
Yeah, absolute standout. Like I was enamored with this game
instantly and immediately. So
yeah.
But yeah, otherwise that's it for me. I'm out. I'm done. Played a lot. I love this bundle. Maybe someday we'll come back and do another one, but I think next month will probably be like a proper indie week, unless we decide to do the Hex and like Oxenfree together or something. I don't know. I really do want to play the Hex though. I think that sounds exactly like my kind of shit.
I think the standouts for me, the ones I would be most likely to revisit, are probably the King's Bird. For sure. I will be revisiting that one.
Yeah.
But probably also, I do want to just finish Bold Blade because I got so close to it.
Oh, I know, yeah.
And I do kind of want to go back to Vision Soft Reset. I thought that gimmick, that mechanic was super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like really, really cool and creative.
Yeah. Good list of games. A good diverse selection of stuff this time around, you know? Mm-hmm. We did good. Yeah, you have 1,700 games, people. Go play them. Go dig in. Talk to us. Come join our Discord and tell us other stuff. Like we said, our friend Shia is also going through, I think they said they committed to playing 80 games, one a day. And they're up to, I think they're up to 40 now. And they've got a Twitter.
Weren't they at 50? Didn't they hit 50?
Did they hit 50? Okay. I don't know. But they have a Twitter thread that I will probably retweet when we get off this call. So you can also see that. And yeah. Oh my God. There's so many games to go to play and see if there's something. You will find something you love in there. I mean, I found the King's Bird, which I think is tremendous. So.
Yep. All right. I think that'll do it for us then.
Yeah.
Thank you to Broke Free for your background music. You can follow me on Twitter at thegorgepodcast. You can follow Sara at radioinactivity. And if you want to listen to Sara play a really cool game she's been excited for a long time, you can listen to her other podcast.
Hey, I'm in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds, where me and a bunch of cool queer friends get together and play tabletop games. We try out lots of different systems. We try to impart those systems' mechanics to our listeners, and it's a lot of fun. By the time this comes out, within the next day or two, we will officially have started our Masks block. Masks, a new generation. It's a young superheroes game based off the Monster Heart system that I have been very poorly keeping a secret on Twitter because I keep posting art for it. So yeah, we've all been excited about this one. There's a robot cat boy and a Scottish Highlander in a big technical city. So you know it'll be good. Come check it out. We're at Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud, and you can find the links to the rest of our social media from there. Thanks.
All right, cool. That'll do it for us.
Fuck block puzzles, though. We really do. I'm so bad at puzzle games. I don't know why I picked 2. I picked 2 puzzle games. And I was like, you know, the Ethereal was pretty, like, chill. So even if you're bad at it, you can just kind of take your time and make your way through it at your own pace kind of thing. No, Gunhouse is not like that. And I'm extremely bad at Gunhouse. I feel bad because I really like it, like the way it looks. But fuck puzzle games. I'm bad at them. It's shameful. It's very sad.
Also, fuck games that don't have autosave. I lost like an hour and a half of progress in Gold Blade because of that.
Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, fuck that. Just it's the year of our Lord 2020. Put an autosave in your video game. If you don't know how to do that, go to YouTube and look up how to make autosave in Unity, because I think every single game I played was made in Unity.
Yeah.
Just go look it up, okay? It's fine. Put it in autosave, please. We're begging you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.